Welcome to your deep dive into microactivism.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, I think you're going to love this one.
Yeah,
We're using Omkari Williams' book, Microactivism, as our guide.
great book.
Yeah, and it's packed with practical advice
Awesome.
and inspiring examples that show how even small actions can make a real difference.
I love that premise.
It's-
It's very empowering.
Yeah,
What really stood out to me was how the book challenges that go big or go home mentality.
right. Yeah.
Williams argues that this approach can lead to burnout
Oh, totally.
and discourage people from even getting involved.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Like you're setting yourself up for failure
right.
before you even begin.
Exactly.
So how does microactivism differ?
Well, microactivism embraces the idea that sustainable change happens when millions of us take small, consistent steps
Okay,
that fit our lives.
I like that.
Yeah, it's about finding your unique way to contribute
Yeah,
rather than trying to force yourself into a mold that doesn't work.
makes so much sense.
Right. Yeah.
Much more empowering message.
Totally.
It means that anyone can be an activist,
Right.
regardless of their time or their resources.
Yeah, for sure.
And to help you find your unique place in the movement,
Okay.
Williams introduces 4 activist archetypes.
Ooh.
Have you ever thought about what kind of activist you might be?
Honestly,
Okay.
I never really considered it in terms of archetypes,
Interesting.
but I guess I tend to gravitate towards the organizer's role. I
Okay.
love bringing people together,
That's great.
coordinating efforts,
Yeah.
but I can also see myself as an indispensable
Interesting.
at providing support behind the scenes.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Williams emphasizes that most people are actually a blend of these types,
right.
and our roles can even evolve over time.
Yeah, I bet.
The point is to be self-aware
Okay.
and leverage your strengths.
Yeah.
Like, think about someone like Greta Thunberg,
Okay.
a classic headliner.
Using her platform to inspire action on a global scale.
Right.
And then you have the producers,
Uh-huh.
the campaign managers working behind the scenes,
Yeah.
make sure everything runs smoothly.
Right. All the details.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the indispensables.
The unsung heroes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that retired lawyer from the book
Oh, yeah.
who used their expertise to help that grassroots environmental group.
That was a great example.
Right.
Yeah.
Navigate complex legal hurdles.
Right.
Showed how valuable specialized skills can be,
So true.
even if they aren't traditionally associated with activism.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Every contribution matters, no
Uh-huh.
matter how big or small.
I love that.
Now, something that resonated with me was how Williams connects our personal motivations to action,
Yeah.
uncovering your origin story,
Okay.
the event that sparked your passion
That's interesting.
for a particular cause.
Yeah, because when you're connected to a cause
Yeah,
on a personal level, you're more likely to stay committed.
exactly.
Yeah.
The book shares some incredible origin stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
From witnessing environmental devastation
Wow.
to experiencing personal loss due to social injustice.
Yeah.
It highlights the diverse ways people find their calling,
Yeah.
but the common thread is that emotional connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've identified your activist type,
Okay.
tapped into your origin story,
Right.
but with so many issues,
Mm-hmm.
how do we choose where to focus our energy?
Well, that's where Williams introduces the Noah's Ark rule.
Okay.
It's her advice to focus on 1 or 2 causes at a time
Okay.
to avoid spreading yourself too thin
Yeah.
and burning out.
Yeah, that's tempting, though,
I know it is.
especially for someone like me
Yeah.
who feels pulled in a lot of directions,
Right.
but then you feel like you're abandoning other causes.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But it's not about abandoning them.
Okay.
It's about being strategic with your energy. Williams argues that focusing on a few key areas
Yeah.
allows you to make a deeper impact.
Right.
And you're less likely to get overwhelmed and discouraged,
That's true.
which helps you stay engaged.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's better to make a meaningful contribution to a few causes
Right.
than to spread yourself too thin.
And not be effective anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of interconnectedness,
Okay.
something that really stood out to me was how Williams emphasizes the importance of racial justice as a foundation
Okay.
for all activism.
Interesting.
She argues that racial inequity impacts every single issue, from climate change
Right.
to healthcare
Uh,
to economic justice.
wow, that's a big statement.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's easy to compartmentalize issues.
Yeah.
But she's saying it's all connected.
It is.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so one example is environmental justice.
Okay.
She highlights how communities of color are disproportionately impacted by pollution
Right.
and environmental degradation.
Yeah.
So working to address climate change inherently involves fighting for racial justice.
That's a really insightful connection.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't address one issue
Right.
without acknowledging the intersection with others.
Especially racial justice.
Especially racial justice.
Yeah.
And Williams doesn't shy away from uncomfortable conversations about privilege.
Yeah.
She specifically calls upon white readers to examine their own role in perpetuating systemic racism.
Yeah.
And to use their privilege responsibly to dismantle those systems.
Wow. That's a powerful call to action.
It is.
It's not enough to be not racist.
Right.
We have to actively work to dismantle these systems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this leads to another crucial aspect.
Okay.
Community.
Yeah.
Williams is adamant about ditching the go-it-alone mentality.
Right.
She believes that connection and collaboration are essential for staying motivated and creating lasting change.
I love that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that proverb.
Okay.
If you want to go fast, go alone.
Right.
If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly.
So how does she suggest finding and building community?
Well, she emphasizes that community doesn't have to mean joining a big formal organization.
Okay.
It can be as simple as connecting with friends and family who share your passion for a cause.
Oh, you said.
Or joining an online forum.
Yeah.
Attending a local meeting or event.
Yeah, even just having a conversation with someone who understands your concerns can be so validating.
It can, and motivating.
For sure.
And Williams points out that even those who identify as introverts or loners can benefit from connecting with others who are working towards the same goals.
It's about that sense of belonging.
Yes.
Right.
And shared purpose.
Exactly.
Which can be so powerful.
And helps you stay committed.
It does.
When things get tough.
Absolutely.
Because activism can be challenging.
Oh, yeah.
Dealing with complex issues and systemic barriers.
So how does Williams address the importance of resilience?
Yeah, how do you avoid burnout?
She dedicates a whole section to building resilience for the long haul.
Makes sense.
And offers some really practical tips.
Great.
One of her key concepts is radical realism.
What is that?
Essentially, it's about honestly assessing your capacity and limits and adjusting your goals accordingly.
So being realistic about what you can actually accomplish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rather than setting yourself up for failure by trying to do too much.
Yeah.
She gives a great example of this in her own life.
Oh, okay.
She used to push herself to write for hours at a time. But it would leave her feeling drained and discouraged.
Yeah. Been there.
Then she shifted to a more sustainable approach, committing to just a couple of hours of focused writing each morning.
Interesting.
And guess what?
What?
She actually ended up being more productive in the long run.
Wow.
Because she wasn't constantly burning herself out.
That's so relatable.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes less is more.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to sustainable activism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about pacing yourself. And setting yourself up for success.
Right.
And another great tip is for combating decision fatigue. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by all the choices you have to make in a day?
Oh my gosh.
Even simple ones.
All the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does decision fatigue have to do with activism?
Yeah. Curious.
Well, Williams points out that even small decisions can drain our mental energy.
Right.
So she suggests incorporating micro actions into your routine and prepping things in advance to minimize those daily choices.
That's brilliant.
Yay!
Yeah.
So instead of trying to decide every day, if you have time to write a letter to your representative, you could have a stack of pre-addressed postcards ready to go and dedicate 15 minutes each week to writing them.
That's amazing. I love that.
It's like automating your activism.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I love that.
Makes it so much easier to stay consistent.
Totally.
So what other tips does she offer for staying strong over time?
Yeah. I want to know.
Well, she also emphasizes the importance of scheduling restorative time.
Restorative time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That might sound counterintuitive, but taking breaks and prioritizing self-care are essential for maintaining your energy and enthusiasm over time.
Yeah, I get that it's easy to get so caught up in the fight that you forget to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
What does she suggest for restorative time?
It can be something as simple as taking a walk in nature.
Okay.
reading a book.
Nice.
Listening to music.
Okay.
Spending time with loved ones.
Makes sense.
Anything that helps you recharge and reconnect with yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that self-care isn't selfish.
Right.
It's essential for being able to show up fully for the causes you care about.
I love that.
Yeah.
And she makes a fascinating distinction between what she calls deep work and shallow work. Deep work is about disrupting oppressive systems at their core.
Okay.
While shallow work might feel like activism, but it actually upholds those same systems.
Interesting. Can you give me an example?
Sure. Okay.
Imagine you're passionate about education reform.
Okay.
Organizing a protest against funding cuts to public schools would be considered deep work.
Okay.
Because you're directly challenging a policy that perpetuates inequality.
Right.
On the other hand, simply sharing a social media post about the issue, while it raises awareness, could be considered shallow work.
Okay. Because it doesn't necessarily lead to concrete action or systemic change.
So it's about being mindful of the impact of our actions.
Yes.
Yeah, and making sure they align with our values and goals.
Exactly.
I think it's easy to get caught up in the performative aspects without realizing we might be upholding the systems we're trying to change.
Yeah, exactly.
You know something I've always struggled with?
Yeah.
Is that feeling of not doing enough.
I hear that.
Yeah, like no matter how much I do, it never feels like enough to make a real difference.
Yeah.
Does Williams address that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
She talks about the importance of shifting our focus from individual achievement to collective impact.
Makes sense.
It's not about being a superhero activist. It's about being part of a larger movement.
Right.
Every action, no matter how small, contributes to that collective effort.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off.
Right.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Right.
And even small acts of courage and kindness can create a powerful wave of change.
I love that.
Right.
Speaking of ripple effects.
Oh, yeah.
One of the stories that stuck with me was the one about the woman who always gave money to anyone who asked.
Yeah.
Even if it was just a small amount.
Such a beautiful story.
It seemed like such a simple gesture.
Right.
Yeah. But it inspired others to do the same.
It did.
Creating this chain of generosity.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it ties back to the idea of legacy.
Right.
Which Williams explores in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, she frames legacy not just in terms of grand achievements.
Right.
But as the cumulative effect of our everyday actions.
Exactly.
It's like that quote, "What you do speaks so loudly I cannot hear what you say."
I love that quote.
Yeah, our actions are what shape the world.
They do.
And the kind of world we leave behind for future generations.
It's about being good ancestors.
That's a powerful concept.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it expands our circle of responsibility beyond just our immediate sphere.
Now, the book focuses on individual action, but I'm wondering, how much more powerful could microactivism be if it was coordinated at a larger scale?
That's a good question.
What if we could harness the energy and passion of millions of individuals and channel it into a more organized collective effort?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like taking the concept of microactivism to the next level.
It'd be fascinating to see.
Right.
Yeah.
How that kind of coordination could be achieved.
Right, like through online platforms or local chapters.
Possibly.
Or even national campaigns that bring together microactivists.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, working on different issues, but united by a shared commitment to social justice.
It's inspiring.
It is.
So we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
From finding our activist type to connecting with our origin story to choosing our battles and building community.
Right.
And we talked about resilience, small actions, and legacy.
Right. I'm curious, what are your biggest takeaways from the book?
That we don't have to wait for some grand opportunity to make a difference.
Okay.
We can start right where we are with what we have. And our actions, no matter how small, can create a positive impact.
Yeah, I like it.
And the emphasis on community and collaboration reminds us that we're not alone.
Right. We're all in this together.
Exactly. And together we can achieve so much more than we could individually.
For me, one of the biggest takeaways is being mindful of the impact of our actions.
Oh, that's huge.
It's not enough to simply be well-intentioned.
Right.
We need to be aware of how our choices contribute to upholding or dismantling systems of oppression.
It's about making more conscious choices.
And I think the book provides some really valuable tools for navigating that complexity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I appreciate how the book encourages a beginner's mind to be open to learning and growing and recognizing that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Totally.
And we're constantly evolving.
I think that takes the pressure off
of
having to be perfect.
Right.
It's about showing up, being willing to learn, doing the best you can with what you have.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love how the book emphasizes celebrating wins.
Yes.
No matter how small.
It's so important.
It's like giving yourself positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Helps you stay motivated.
It does.
So let's shift gears and talk about getting started.
Okay.
What are some practical steps for putting these ideas into action?
Well, one of the first things she recommends is crafting a what I stand for list.
Okay.
Essentially, it's about identifying the values that drive you.
Okay.
And the changes you want to see.
So like a mission statement.
Yes.
For your activism.
Exactly. So let's say your origin story revolves around witnessing climate change.
Okay.
Your what I stand for list might include things like protecting natural resources, promoting sustainable living, and advocating for climate justice.
Makes sense.
And then you can brainstorm specific actions that align with those values.
So if you're a headliner, you might start a blog.
You come a local event
Exactly.
to raise awareness.
And a producer might research organizations and offer their skills.
And someone who identifies as indispensable might offer childcare for activists who are attending meetings or actions.
Or even just listen with an open heart to someone who's feeling discouraged.
Yeah, I love that.
All those actions, no matter how small, contribute to the bigger picture.
Exactly.
So once you have a clear sense of your values and actions, it's important to bring back that radical realism. Okay, how do you apply that to getting started?
She suggests asking yourself some tough questions.
Okay, like what?
Who's relying on you right now?
Okay.
What are your capacity limits? What factors might impact your ability to engage consistently?
Yeah. It's about being honest with yourself.
It is.
And setting realistic goals.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement.
Oh, I know.
And then take on too much.
Right.
Which can lead to burnout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's better to start small.
Okay.
And build momentum.
Right.
Remember that example Williams shared about her sustainable writing routine?
Yeah.
Committing to just a couple of hours each morning?
Yeah.
It's about breaking down big goals into manageable steps.
Right.
And respecting your own limits.
So practical.
It is.
It makes the whole idea of microactivism feel achievable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about finding a rhythm that works for you.
Okay.
Integrating activism into your life in a way that's sustainable. So once you have a realistic sense of your capacity, you can start setting priorities and incorporating micro actions into your daily life.
That's where the decision fatigue hack comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember, making things as easy as possible by prepping your donation in advance or having a stack of postcards ready for your letter writing campaign.
I love that.
It's about removing those obstacles that might keep you from taking action.
Yeah.
Creating a system for your activism. Which makes it so much easier to stay consistent.
And as you build this consistent practice, Williams suggests celebrating your wins.
I love that part.
No matter how small.
It's so important.
We often forget to acknowledge our accomplishments.
We do.
But celebrating those small victories can be a huge motivator.
It can.
Think of it like positive reinforcement.
It is.
It helps you stay engaged.
For the long haul.
That's so true. It's easy to get caught up in what still needs to be done.
I know. And lose sight of the progress.
Yeah, and celebrating those wins can help shift your perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And keep you motivated.
Right.
And speaking of staying motivated, the book also dives into the power of community. And collaboration.
Yeah, she really emphasizes ditching the go-it-alone mentality.
She does.
Yeah, even those who identify as loners benefit from connecting with others.
Yes.
Who share their passion.
It's so true.
And she offers some creative ways to find and build that community.
She does.
It doesn't have to be a formal organization. It could be as simple as starting a conversation.
It can.
Or joining an online group.
Or attending a meeting. She even suggests collaborating with groups that might not share your entire ideology.
Interesting.
That can be a really powerful strategy when you find common ground on a specific issue.
I think sometimes we get so caught up in our echo chambers
that
we forget there are people outside our usual circles.
It's true.
Who might be working towards similar goals, even if their approaches are different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She gives a great example of this. Liberal and conservative lawmakers in the U.S. Working together on prison reform.
Wow.
Despite their differing ideologies, they came together and passed meaningful legislation.
That's amazing.
Because they shared a common goal.
That's a powerful example of collaboration.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it shows that it's possible to bridge those divides.
It is.
And work together.
Even if you don't agree on everything.
Yeah, for the common good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about being pragmatic and focusing on shared goals.
And that ties back to legacy.
It does.
Yeah. It's not about personal glory.
No.
It's about working together.
It is.
Yeah. And create a better world.
Williams emphasizes sharing wisdom.
Yeah.
She encourages readers to acknowledge their sources of knowledge and pass on what they've learned.
Like paying it forward.
Right. And it helps to dismantle the ego. It does sometimes creep into activism.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that knowledge is powerful when it's shared.
Totally.
And that our goal should be to empower others.
Right, to be agents of change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she talks about approaching activism with a beginner's mind.
Yeah.
Being open to learning.
Right.
And recognizing that we don't have all the answers.
Which allows us to grow and evolve.
It does.
And build bridges with people who might have different perspectives.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about creating space for respectful dialogue.
Exactly.
And collaboration.
Yeah. Williams offers some great guidance on creating an effective activist group.
Okay, I want to hear this.
One key piece of advice is to clearly define roles and responsibilities.
Right. Delegate.
Yeah, she suggests drawing on the 4 activist archetypes to make sure everyone's strengths are utilized.
So everyone has a part to play.
Right, like assembling a dream team.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Each member playing a vital role.
Bringing their unique skills and perspectives.
And she emphasizes having a clear focus.
Yes.
Okay.
Mapping out a plan and keeping meticulous notes.
Stay organized.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are essential for staying on track.
So important.
And she stresses addressing conflict constructively.
Oh, yeah. That's hard.
It is, but it's important. Having regular check-ins. And revisiting the plan periodically to make sure it's still aligned with your goals and the evolving needs of the group.
Yeah, and of course celebrating wins along the way.
Now let's talk about staying strong over the long haul.
Yeah, because this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Williams offers some great tips for building resilience and avoiding burnout.
Yeah.
One thing she suggests is radical realism.
Right. Accepting your limits.
Yeah. And not trying to be a superhero.
And pacing yourself.
Right.
Making sure your activism is sustainable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She also talks about incorporating restorative time. Okay. Yeah, we talked about that. Scheduling breaks, prioritizing self-care.
Absolutely.
Engaging in activities that replenish your energy.
This is so important.
Right.
Because activism can be emotionally draining.
Oh, it can.
Especially when you're dealing with difficult issues and facing setbacks.
For sure.
And she reminds us that self-care doesn't have to be expensive or time-consuming.
Right.
It can be as simple as taking a walk.
Yeah.
Reading a book.
Okay.
Spending time with loved ones.
Right.
Or listening to music.
Yeah, whatever helps you recharge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that you are your most valuable asset.
Oh, I like that.
And taking care of yourself
is
essential for making a lasting impact.
I think we forget that sometimes.
We do.
Right.
Another tip is to maximize your impact by leveraging your existing skills and resources.
Oh, that makes sense.
Thinking creatively about how your talents and connections can be used to support your cause.
Right. Like if you're a graphic designer, you could offer your skills to create flyers or graphics.
Right. Or if you're a great cook, you could prepare meals for volunteers or staff.
I love that.
Really highlights the diversity of ways to contribute and that there's a place for everyone.
Exactly.
Regardless of their background or skill set.
Yeah. And Williams reminds us that it's okay to not know everything.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, we're all constantly learning and growing.
We are.
She encourages us to embrace a beginner's mind.
Yes.
And be open to learning from others.
And she provides some great resources.
Oh, like what?
For expanding your knowledge.
Okay.
Books, articles, websites, podcasts.
Yeah, it's like a library of activism wisdom.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
Right.
Finding our activist type, connecting with our origin story, choosing our battles, building community, staying strong for the long haul.
Right.
But one question remains.
What kind of legacy do we want to leave?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
And it's one that Williams encourages us to think about deeply. It's not just about the big accomplishment.
Right, or the recognition.
She encourages us to think about the ripple effect of our everyday actions, the small choices, the way we interact, the values we embody.
Right. It's like be the change you want to see.
Yes.
But taken to a whole new level.
Recognizing that every action, every interaction has the potential to create a ripple that extends beyond our immediate sphere.
And it's not just about impacting those around us today.
Right. It goes further.
Yeah, she even uses the term good ancestors.
I love that.
Yeah.
Challenging us to consider how our actions will impact generations to come.
Wow, that really shifts your perspective.
It does.
Expanding your circle of responsibility to encompass the future.
It's about recognizing that we're part of a larger web of interconnectedness.
Right.
And that our choices have consequences that ripple out.
Across time and space.
Exactly.
You know, one thing I found really inspiring was her emphasis on involving kids in activism.
Oh, I love that part.
Right.
Kids are so passionate.
Yeah, they have this natural sense of justice.
They do.
Right.
And fairness.
And they're so passionate about making the world a better place.
It's like they haven't been jaded yet.
Yeah, they still believe in the power of possibility.
And they can teach us so much.
Right.
About hope and resilience.
Yeah.
And the importance of standing up.
For what you believe in.
Exactly.
She talks about listening to their concerns.
Right.
Nurturing their desire to help. And guiding them in finding ways to make a difference.
That are appropriate for their age.
Right.
It's about empowering them to be agents of change.
Yeah. Gives me so much hope.
Me too.
To think about raising a generation of kids who are engaged in making the world a better place.
Imagine the possibility.
Okay, so we've covered a lot.
We
explored microactivism, the activist archetypes, origin stories,
immunity,
resilience, and legacy.
It's a lot.
You've now got a roadmap to impactful action.
You do.
Even if you don't have a ton of time or resources.
Remember, it's not about being perfect or doing everything.
It's about showing up consistently. Taking small steps. And celebrating those wins.
Exactly.
Now, as you embark on your own microactivism journey, here's something to ponder. The book focuses on individual action.
Right.
But what if we could coordinate those efforts on a larger scale?
Interesting.
Imagine the potential if millions of us taking those small steps we're working together in a more organized and strategic way.
The power of collective action.
Amplified by the principles of microactivism.
It could be a game changer.
So as you go forth and make your own ripples in the world, remember that you're part of something much bigger
than yourself. You're part of a movement of everyday activists.
Right.
Creating a more just, equitable, and sustainable future.
And we can't wait to see what you accomplish.
Me neither.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.